everyone. This is Lucas Ross Sports, Lucas Ross, your commentator, and we continue our 2022 college football predictions. The Michigan Wolverines are up next. I'll give you an official prediction for this team, give you my thoughts on this team, and go through the schedule, and we will go from there. But before we do that, let's look back at 2021 for this Michigan team. 2021, the Michigan Wolverines went 12-2 overall. They went to the college football playoff last year, their first college football playoff appearance. It was a great season last year. They won the Big Ten championship as well against Iowa. So they overall had a really good season. Really, Michigan surprised a lot of people last year. It really surprised me overall as well. Offensively and defensively in the rankings last year, they were 16th on offense, which is really good for Michigan. So a top, 20 offense or something, or top 25 offense. Defensively, a top 10 defense, 8th overall. This is a great defensive team last year. Points per game and opponents per game on both sides of the ball. Offensively, 35.8 points a game they average, and that's really good numbers there for Michigan if they are in the 30-point category. 17.4 points given up on the defensive side of the ball, which isn't too bad. They can probably improve that this year, but they're going to have a young defensive team this year. Offensively, they bring almost everybody back. This Michigan team is loaded on the offensive line this year, loaded on both sides on offense this year. Defensively, they, are going to be young. Let's be honest, they're going to be really young, but they should be still a really good defensive team. Let's be honest, it's Michigan, obviously. It should be overall a really good defensive team. Here's that 2022 schedule for this Michigan team. Michigan overall not a bad schedule here. Colorado State to open up the season on September the 3rd, and then they get Hawaii out of the non-conference, and then UConn out of the American Athletics there. This is an easy draw out of the non-conference. Colorado State might be a challenge, but this is a game I think Michigan only scored 30-something points. The other games, maybe 30 points in the UConn game as well. Maybe Hawaii, though, they can score 40 points overall. But these are games that they should take care of business in. They have no business in losing these games. Colorado State could be a game that, could go either way. But I think Michigan will overall defeat Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn to begin the season. And they'll kick off with 3 wins in a row there. So that's an easy non-conference schedule for Michigan, not a bad one. UConn and Colorado State are 2, Division I teams, but these are games that I think Michigan will win. Maryland is next here at home on September 24th. I know I went through this game last week here between Michigan and Maryland. 2 great offenses here going at it here. Offensively, both teams are going to be so good this year. Maryland has a good offense. Michigan has a good offense. Defensively, Maryland does have a good defense. Defensively, Michigan does not. But with it being home field advantage and Michigan, being, the better offense, I get Michigan the win here, and I think it's going to be a game that can go either way. I think both teams will probably score a lot of points in this game, maybe in the 30s here. But both offenses here are really talented. Let's be honest. Both offenses are really talented here in this game. Next game on the road at Iowa, they get to the month of October, and it's a really tough stretch here in October. They open up with a road game against Iowa, so this is a rematch here in the Big Ten Championship. We know Iowa and Michigan went at it in the Big Ten Championship last year, but who knows what's going to happen in this game. Iowa brings a lot back on the defensive or the offensive side of the ball as well. Defensively, they bring quite a lot back as well, so Iowa should still be a really good team. I know I predicted Iowa to beat Michigan in that video I did for Iowa because I think the home field advantage is there for Iowa, and I think the returning production percentage goes to Iowa as well. They have the advantage in this one, and also I think Michigan will come up short, but I think it's a defensive battle, to be honest. Maybe both defenses will get it going, but offensively, both teams are really powerful, but I think Iowa does win here. It's a road game. I think Iowa does get revenge in this game. Michigan, though, will lose their first game of the season. That's a huge loss there because you've got to now win out for the rest of the games if you're going to make the college football playoff. So, Michigan does lose that one. Next game on the road at Indiana, so back-to-back road games here. Tough back-to-back road games, to be honest with you. Indiana is a team that, could be an underdog this year. I'm not really high on them, but I'm saying they will have close games. Let's be honest, they will have close games this year. Indiana, though, I really don't see, them beating Michigan in this game. Maybe they do give them the scare in the first half, but second half I think Michigan does pull away. Michigan's defense should be better by this time as well, so I mean, it depends on what they are going to look like, but we don't know about these teams until we get to the month of October. In the middle of October, maybe late October, so we don't really know about these teams until we get to the middle of October. But I think Michigan does get the win there against Indiana on the road on October the 8th. That's a game that, Michigan will have a scare maybe in the first half, but I think they do pull away. Next game at home against Penn State. Michigan was able to overcome last year and beat Penn State on the road. This time it's a home game. Does Penn State have what it takes to get a revenge in this one? I don't really see that happening, to be honest with you. Michigan, I think, does have a first half scare like they did against Indiana, but I think Michigan does pull away in this game against Penn State. Will be a close one, but it's not going to be enough for Penn State here. And Penn State, like I said, they do return really good offense this year. Defensively, they're going to be a little bit young, but not really that young, to be honest with you, not really young. But I think Michigan does get the win here against Penn State on October 15th. They do get the win there. The next game at home against Michigan State. Good news is they get a bye week before playing this game. Michigan State really surprised a lot of people last year. Let's be honest, they surprised me a lot last year. But what really surprised a lot of people was that Michigan State was able to beat Michigan last year. That was a really big surprise. And I thought that was going to ruin Michigan's chances of making the college football playoff, but they still made it. But with it being at home and this year, the bye week as well, I think the returning production percentage, advantage goes to Michigan in this game. And I think they do get revenge on Michigan State in this one. I think they do beat Michigan State this time. It's a home game, and I think Michigan will be fired up here. Both teams will probably be fired up. It's a rival game as well. It's going to be a close one. I think they'll both score maybe 30s or 20s in this game, but I think it's going to go either way. You never know. It could be a game that can go either way. Next game on the road at the Rutgers. I know the Rutgers are an underdog team out of the East this year. The Rutgers do bring quite a bit back on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they bring a little bit back as well. But they're still not going to be that good of a team. Let's be honest. If they really returned a lot of players from last year, they would be really good. I think they'll give Michigan a scare in the first quarter maybe, but at the end of the day, though, I think Michigan should go in there on the road and defeat Rutgers. Pretty easily, I should say, but the Rutgers will, give them a scare maybe in the first few minutes, but I think it's going to be all Michigan in this one. And I can see the Wolverines defeating the Rutgers here on the road. Next game at home against Nebraska. Nebraska is a team that has a lot of, question marks, but Nebraska had a lot of close games last year. Let's be honest. Is this the year they finally, really tried to have a good season? But this one is a home game for Michigan. I see Nebraska maybe competing in the first half, but overall, at the end of the day, with it being at home, Michigan is too talented, and I think they will pull away from Nebraska in this game. Nebraska is a team that, everybody's really expecting it to be good, but the thing is, though, their returning production percentage for them is not good. Let's be honest. I mean, they don't really bring half of their starters back. Overall, on the defensive side, they don't bring anybody back as well. Nebraska, I think, will not really be close in the second half. First half, I think they will, but Michigan does win that one at the end of the day. Illinois is next here on November 19th. Illinois has a lot of question marks as well. I mean, offensively and defensively, they're going to be really young, let's be honest. I mean, they do have a lot of question marks, and I don't really see this game being all that close, to be honest with you. I think this is a game that Michigan will win by a blowout. I think by 3 touchdowns, maybe 4 in this one. So I don't really see Michigan, having any problems with Illinois in this game, and I think they do come here and defeat them. And then there's that final game on the road at Ohio State. Here's the big game here out of the Big Ten. Who is going to win the Big Ten East? This game right here maybe decides the Big Ten East once again. Ohio State might be undefeated. Maybe they have one loss coming into this game. I think the winner of this game does go to the college football playoff as well. Let's say if they were playing for in a Big Ten championship, they would have to win in order to make the college football playoff. But Michigan, we saw what they did last year. It was a big win. This time it's on the road at Ohio State. I really don't see Michigan beating them back-to-back. Let's be honest. Ohio State's going to be has a lot of talent coming back. C.J. Stroud back at quarterback. I think he's a Heisman contender, a winning quarterback as well. I think Ohio State will win this one. I think it's a revenge game for the Buckeyes. I don't really see Michigan pulling off back-to-back wins in back-to-back years. I mean, I don't think Michigan will obviously, do that. But it will be a close game, no doubt about it. It will be a close game. It was a high-scoring game last year, let's be honest. But I think Michigan does come up short of a win here for back-to-back wins. And the overall prediction for Michigan comes out to be 10-2. I mean, it seems like they go 10-2 every single year after, if they don't defeat Ohio State. But Iowa's a potential win. They could still go 11-1. Michigan State, though, is a potential loss on that schedule. So is Maryland. Don't really sleep on those games. I want to let you guys think about this Michigan team. What do you think their record will be in 2022? And stay tuned here for more on Lucas Ross Sports.